Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to No Filter Gen Z. We are young Americans fighting to defend the truth, and today we're talking about Hollywood and notably JoJo Siwa's big transformation lately, as well as the Superman movie and some people's thoughts on that, but we'll just tie it all together and talk about what's going on in Hollywood and what has been going on for actors, directors, and the whole culture in LA, because it's always been kind of weird, but Holly weird. We'll talk about all of it, but we're going to start with JoJo Siwa. I never thought we would talk about that on this show, but here we are. Welcome, Lydia and Elijah. Do you guys know about this story?
I mean, I've heard bits and pieces because I know that, JoJo Siwa has been known to be, like, lesbian. I think that's how she kind of, after she was with, like, her, like, little hair bows and, like, she would do her little, like, concerts and stuff, and then, like, we didn't hear about it for a while, and then all of a sudden she comes out as lesbian, and then it's like, huge uproar.
And then she becomes this LGBTQ icon for a while.
Yes.
Like, dressing weird, saying she's, like, all these different things.
Yeah, the weird music covers that she's been doing, too. Yeah.
But she said, and this happens with a lot of people that are children who are actors, like child actors, they end up getting into weird situations and like being pressured by different people. We saw with Nickelodeon and the whole situation with Dan Schneider and Drake and Josh. You guys know about that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. So we know that stuff like this happens, but let me pull up on the screen what JoJo Siwa said recently. Former Nickelodeon star JoJo Siwa says she felt pressure to come out as lesbian as a minor. So we don't know who, but she said this herself, that she felt pressured by the LGBTQ community. And it seems like, I don't know the extent to like how much that impacted her or how long it was going on, but it seems like kids that are actors that get into Hollywood and all these things end up having pressure and weird situations and drugs and alcohol and pedophilia and then this. So what are your thoughts on the whole Hollywood situation?
I think it's just an absolute mess. Hollywood itself is just founded on like satanic principles. I mean, it's not a good thing for America. It's not a good thing for the rest of the world. And I think my parents saw that for me, and so they didn't let me watch certain shows. And you know what? Thank the Lord they didn't, because those shows do have quite an influence on a child who doesn't know how to think for themselves. And you can see that with a lot of kids nowadays. I grew up in the woods, so I didn't really watch much TV. When I did, it was not Nickelodeon or Disney.
Yeah, I mean, there is stuff that comes with that. So we knew that, though. For forever, there's been issues with this kind of stuff with kids. I just feel bad for the kids that get involved because they're doing it for a good reason, like they want to be an actor or they want to do this, and then sad things happen to these people that go into it. So Lydia, do you have any thoughts about Hollywood in general before we dive into this situation?
Well, I feel like it's somewhat relevant to me because just a few weeks ago I visited California for the first time ever, and although we didn't spend much time in the LA Hollywood area, we did some, and it was as little as it was, that was enough for me. Like we were in the heart of like Hollywood, like the downtown city area, and there is a real darkness over that city. Not even just the culture of Hollywood, but the actual city itself. Like you can just tell that it's very materialistic. It's very fast paced, but not in a good way. The people within it, it's just, you can tell there's a lot of lost people. And I remember like we were on where like the Chinese theater is, and the stars, and you could see them, and just like the people that are on those streets, like it's constant like buying and selling. That's what it is. Like it's very, very touristy, and I get that it's very touristy. Like I get that is a huge aspect of why it was the way it is and why it still is the way it is. But the actual industry, I think obviously like there's roots from what it is actually as a city, and so the correlation there, and how they both are dark is not surprising at all. And so I mean, I also would second with Elijah, like there was a lot of things that I was not allowed to watch as a kid, and I am also so thankful that I never did. Because, you know, hindsight is 2020. And as much as I didn't understand it then, I understand it now because
Mm-hmm.
just seeing just how the progression of it becoming darker and darker is really real for
Yeah,
sure.
and it's something not a lot of people even know about that's going on behind the scenes of these shows and stuff because it seems awesome on camera, like when we're watching it on TV, but behind the scenes, there's so much going on. And someone commented on that post that I brought up that says she's just one of millions of children that have been groomed by children's TV, the popular media, and public education that all push the LGBTQ agenda on them. We see that in schools. They're trying to teach that to kids, which is dumb because kids shouldn't even need to learn about that. I mean, my mom homeschools my younger siblings, and she's had to take out certain lessons that are saying things like that, saying that you're fluid in your gender and that there's 7,000 genders and whatever else they say. But stuff kids don't need to be learning that stuff anyway. Like regardless of your opinions on it, kids should be left out of it completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people who stick up for Hollywood and their beliefs, they don't understand the origins of it.
Mm.
And so, quick little history lesson for y'all who don't know.
Okay, here we go.
Hollywood is made, the name Hollywood stems from the local druids of Europe back in the medieval ages. They used Hollywood, a tree that was called the holly tree. They used the wood from that tree to make their staves that they used to summon certain things or call upon demons
Wow.
and stuff like that. So a lot of people who, you know, aren't so spiritual and will call that just a bunch of baloney and stuff like that. This is a spiritual fight. This Hollywood was made satanically. There's a reason Bohemian Grove exists. There's a reason that all these grooming accusations are coming out. There's a reason all these little childhood actors are coming out and don't want to be a part of Hollywood. There's a reason, and it's because it's all satanic. It's all demonic. It's spiritual, very, very spiritual. And those very same druids ended up on the pilgrimage to America as colonists, and all of a sudden now there's a place called Hollywood. Kind of find that interesting. Don't know about y'all, but yeah.
No, that's I believe that because we see all the time like these weird humiliation rituals that happen during award ceremonies and different things with popular actors. It's like they're all a part of something. It's we don't know a lot about it, but I know what you're talking about when you say that. And yeah, that whole Bohemian Grove thing that was popular for a while, that's crazy. It seems like Hollywood is demonic in some ways that we don't see on the surface, especially when you get into being an actor or into being in front of all these people down in that city. So it is kind of scary to think about.
Yeah, it is. And I know there's that whole conspiracy. I don't know if you probably have heard, but pizza being like a code word for child trafficking. And lately I think I'm on conspiracy TikTok. I don't know. I think ever since, you know, the rabbit hole after the Epstein, it's just been like that for me. But I remember seeing, I don't know what year this award ceremony was. I think it was potentially for the Oscars. But Ellen
I think
was
it's called
hosting.
Pizzagate.
Pizzagate, that's what it is. But she and she's been known on her show to constantly talk about pizza. And I again, like, it could be all alleged. It's technically because it hasn't been proven, but that is very, very weird. That is constantly a topic of conversation, especially on, you know, mainstream, you know, hosts for different talk shows and things like that constantly being talked about. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a whole other.
It's
thing,
all allegedly, but there's definitely stuff out there that are happening that are allegedly happening that we don't actually have evidence for. But this is one of the things that seems like it's just really dark and demonic.
Yeah,
and it, like Elijah said, it's spiritual. It really is. But let me bring up another picture that Benny Johnson posted about this JoJo Siwa situation. He says pop star JoJo Siwa's rebrand from radical lesbian activist to a straight drag girlfriend needs to be studied. And obviously this thing on the right is from a music video she was doing. I just learned that. But still, it's just the image that she's portraying publicly, even in music videos and on stage, that is so radically different in a short period of time. And when she says she was pressured and then now this, it's just very strange, but it's good.
Yeah, and I think people forget a lot of times her original start was on Dance Moms.
Yeah, Dance Moms.
And so you look at how that could have corrupted her at a very young age. You know what I mean? Like I think her mom, I think now I don't know how her mom affected her later on, but I think that her mom probably had a lot to do with probably how the habits that she began to form and how she viewed herself. And I think also her mom probably, you don't know as far as pressuring or making her feel some type of way about herself, and then later on
That's a
that
great
definitely
point.
could manifest in other ways. And I'm sure there's other people in the industry in Hollywood that also contributed to that with her specifically. But I'm saying like the family, a lot of it, I've noticed family members like they put their children in certain things, and then it molds them into someone
Mm.
that they you know may wish they weren't in the future.
It's a
So
great point because at that age too, as a kid, going on a show like that and being one pressure, but also feeling probably insecure when there's, you're getting yelled at all the time and there's other, people that are girls on the show that are doing better than you or whatever, all these things, plus the cameras, plus the pressure from your mom, the director, the actual dance teacher, all these things combined can make you something that you don't want to be. And I feel like maybe she got into that situation, and I don't know for sure, but it seems like something like that happened, and it happens to a lot of people that they are molded by their environment and by the pressure and all these things. As a kid, as a kid, you're moldable to anything around you. You're gonna become what you're around as you grow
yeah,
up, and that's why it's important to protect kids from this kind of stuff. But maybe that is part of it, and that's a good point, Lydia.
yeah, for sure.
Elijah, what about you? What do you think?
I just think that too many actors are, just being abused in this way and are trying to figure out a way out, and a lot of people just don't see it. Um,
It's child abuse in some
it
ways,
it
in
really
some
is,
situations.
and it's a lot of these producers, a lot of these high-end people in Nickelodeon, in Disney, in Hollywood itself, promising them, riches and fame, and you'll get this, you'll get that, you'll get publicity, and all these material things that they can offer. Um, but in exchange, what are they doing?
Mm.
What are the kids offering these people all of a sudden? What do they want from the kids? And people don't think about this stuff until things happen. And it's
And
just a
it's
shame.
Yeah, and it's sad when you get into a situation like that because then you start doing things that you wouldn't otherwise have done. Like Drake Bell is an example of this. He ended up getting into things that weren't good after he was abused on TV in Hollywood,
Yeah.
um,
And as a kid,
directly.
as a kid, you don't like think of like these bad things. You don't think people are out to hurt you. You
Hmm.
think they're here to help you. They like you.
Yeah,
They're
you're only
here
thinking
for
of the
you.
best.
Yeah. Like you're a kid. You're optimistic. You're not thinking of the dark side of the world.
Hmm.
I thought I was invincible as a kid until certain things happened, but like you don't think about these things as a kid,
Yeah.
and you agree to certain things, and especially when their parents aren't involved. This is the thing that people don't realize, especially in like schools and stuff. When your parents don't have consent, when your parents cannot
Mm.
sign off on certain things, you get taken advantage of. You're a
Yeah.
kid. You don't know about these contracts. You don't read the contracts. You sign them. Like these things should not happen.
And I mean, going to school too, like as a parent, you're not seeing everything that's going on during a day to day basis
Yeah.
that your kids are involved in. So it can get scary on things that they're teaching them and that you might not even know they're teaching them. I mean, there was a
Yeah.
school in a left leaning or in a Democrat state in a few years ago that was pushing the nurses to be able to um, get the kids to go to get surgeries to mutilate their bodies, and this was happening without parental consent. Like there was
Yeah.
a thing that was signed, I think it was in Minnesota, that was saying that you don't need parental consent for a kid to go to these kind of meetings with people, psychiatrists and surgeons, and be able to do this without a parent ever even knowing.
How backwards is that they think that they have a right as far as I've heard, as far as people on the left talking about how, oh, like the teachers really are the ones that parent your kids because they're around them most of the time. First of
Mm-hmm.
all, last time I checked, the parents are the ones that had the child and not the teacher, and the parents get to decide how the kids are raised, but it becomes really hard in an environment that's not controlled by the parent, and when they don't know what's going on in the classroom, they don't know what's being taught, and
They
then
have
you
no
have like
idea.
nurses nurses, what you're just talking about there, like someone that's there to help children, when they're sick or dealing with stuff like that. Oh, affirming, their gender delusions and their gender dysphoria. And then that's like a whole nother rabbit hole that now we have to worry about, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah, look, this is a pediatric clinic in Minnesota has a consent form, and Tim Walz signed a trans refuge bill, which basically allows the state to take your kids away if you don't consent to sex change surgeries. What the heck?
That's insane.
What the
And
heck?
I think another thing that a very famous saying that people say a lot is it takes a village to raise a child. I absolutely hate when people say that because it absolutely does not. I mean, look at how things used to be in America. A lot of people homeschooled their kids and had their kids raised on a farm. Did that take a village? No, it took a mother and a father teaching their kid the right thing. When a village raises your kid, they get 50 different opinions.
What
And
it is
as a kid,
it's the
hard to
destruction
decipher.
of the family unit. Like they're trying to take the parents' rights away, literally, like actually in some of these states, and it's all to get dependence for people because once they get out of that family, they start to lose some of who they are and like what they're supposed to be, how they're supposed to be raised. And so, I mean, you can see it with the splitting of families and all these things that have led to children being confused. But then now the government, now you need to rely on the government? Now you got to be dependent? Like, it seems like, it seems really straightforward to me and what they're trying to do in all these areas, like from Hollywood to schools to different states and stuff. But why do people keep voting for things like that? Like, why is it still happening, even on terms of what we can actually control as Americans? We can vote people out that are trying to sign these bills and stuff, but some states it's not getting any better, like Minnesota.
And it makes me so glad when I see stuff like that. When Tim Walz is doing that, it just makes me so glad that he is not in office right now.
Yeah, we're lucky.
Because that further should confirm to every single person that either voted for him or Kamala voted for her or didn't,
him,
that was going to be completely like in left field, pun intended.
If there's one thing that I'm happy about the most with President Trump's administration this time around is that they're completely getting away from all of this gender ideology for children. Like, that's one of the best things. And I think that actually the Department of Education and kind of dismantling the federal version of that can help in a huge way with that kind of stuff. Because look at DeSantis and what he's doing in state guidelines. If we get the power back to the state and make education back to these places instead of being all federally mandated, then you get rid of some of this DEI, gender ideology, critical race theory, the things that kids shouldn't even be learning about.
That is so true.
Yeah, and that's a tangent, but let's take one more look. This is JoJo Siwa now, just to be wholesome. This is her now. I think she looks great. She looks happy. Actually, she looks happier than she's ever been in all those videos of her being in crazy outfits. And I saw an interview one time where she had like all this like crazy stuff on her face.
Like the black eye makeup.
The black makeup.
Yeah.
And then now she just looks happy. So I'm happy for her. I'm glad that she's out of whatever she was in. Hopefully that we're done with all that pressure and abuse.
Next step, hopefully finding the Lord. I hope that she really does come to Christ. Like, this is a great, great first step for her, and I hope she continues to go up. Yeah.
Perfect time to find God.
Yep.
So that's the first story, and now we're going to get into Superman. There was a new movie a little bit ago by James Gunn, the director, and this has gotten some backlash and some people not super happy. I haven't actually personally seen the whole movie, so I can't speak from experience. I'll just speak on what we can look at online real quick. But Superman came out, and there was a nod towards like immigration, and people were thinking that it was kind of like getting political, and the director was doing it on purpose. But it says James Gunn responds to the outrage over him saying Superman is an immigrant. I'm not here to judge. I think this movie is about kindness. I think that's something everyone can relate to, which I don't know what that is. How does that have to do with immigration? I think in the movie they say something about it, but I think it's kind of like anti-ICE, some of the things that were happening. But this guy says kindness is following the law and entering a country legally. It's kind of funny.
That's funny. I love how it's like the top comment too.
I know. But here's Ben Shapiro. Well, let's listen to him talk about this real quick. And he's actually on the side. He thinks this wasn't actually that bad, but let's see. Oh, true. Anyways, that's Ben Shapiro's opinion, but I actually do agree with him. It's probably not as big of a deal as some people are making it, but the anti-ICE sentiment could be kind of taken the wrong way because he was a immigrant, and they're trying to say that ICE hates all immigrants, which is not true. If that's the point of putting that in, that's not true, because just trying to enforce the law. Like Tom Homan, he's trying to enforce the law and protect Americans from the people that are murderers and rapists and the bad people from getting in. And by doing that, you have to have some laws in place, enforced, so that you have to go through a process to get in. That's all it is.
Yeah. And the thing is, we welcome and accept legal immigrants with open arms.
Yeah, legal.
So, legal, that's the key, but it's also, and obviously it doesn't mean we don't love everyone because we do, but it's also like no one else talks about how nearly every other country in the world also has policies as far as immigration. Yeah, and so, but we're the ones that are talked about the most as far as Americans, but then yet some Americans, the same ones that are saying that we should be accepting everyone and welcoming the foreigner, as they like to use that verse out of context from the Bible, but then, yeah, they don't, and they love all the policies of other countries, all these socialist policies and all that, but like also, they don't point out the fact that they have immigration policies. And
every
so
single
it's
one.
Very backwards.
Try to do that. Try to break into Mexico and see what happens. Like, try to break into some of these countries and see what happens. It's not just America. It's actually the common sense. It's actually what you need to run a country. You can't just let everyone barge in. But I don't see the argument with that verse, because you are welcomed as a foreigner. You just have to do it the legal way. You have to do it in a way that protects people in the country. You know?
I mean, heck, look at Norway and Sweden. Some of the most socialist countries in the world. For all of you socialists out there, they don't let just anyone in. In fact, those are some of the hardest countries to get into. They are so strict on who comes in and who comes out. It is insane. So
it's so funny how that works.
I want to read. I want to read a someone's comment about this Superman movie. This person on X says, while Fox News claims that the new Superman is super woke, this was Clark Kent in Smallville. He's always been a voice for immigrants because he's an immigrant himself. He's a hero for the people, and anyone who disagrees never understood Superman. My thing is, like, do we have to make Superman political? Do we have to make this about immigration? He came from a different planet. Come on. This is not the same thing as saying he's from like another country. He freaking landed as a baby on Earth from a different planet, and we're making this about immigration? Are you kidding me?
This is also all fictional, mind you.
It's ridiculous. It's a movie.
Everything now is politicized nowadays, so it doesn't surprise me. But it's also like, come on, like, unless it's so obviously trying to be political and like there is an agenda being pushed, especially what Disney has been doing lately. But like,
that's what I was gonna bring up. Disney's the same way. There's always a message in their freaking thing, an agenda. Look at all the new movies for kids. It's just ridiculous. But why can we just get to like back to the time where movies were for families that could just go to escape the world? Because I like to go to see a movie to stop thinking about reality. And look, you have the freedom of speech to do whatever you want. You have the First Amendment. But why make every single movie so political? Like, let's just get back to entertaining. So we know what Superman is. Everyone knows Superman is an entertaining superhero movie. It's not about freaking immigration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's so true. We need some type of escape and to watch something light
Yeah.
Despite all the heaviness in our world.
There's a
you know?
category for that. There's a category for movies that are like that. But like, let's leave Superman. Like, come on. And I don't know. That's we got to get back to that with Hollywood in general. Like we talked about earlier, and with this, everything needs to go back to just being entertainment, even for the actors. Like you're doing it for the job. Let's get away from abusing these kids and doing all these things and making movies political. Like let kids be kids. I think is the sentiment.
Yeah.
Like
let
let
movies
them be
be
kids.
movies.
Let them go watch a movie without having to get brainwashed into some ideology. Like just let it be a movie.
Yeah. Let kids be kids and movies be movies.
Yeah, that's good. Amen. That's a good way to end it. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. That's it for this one. Let us know your thoughts in the comments about Hollywood and the scene right now, and as well as the Superman movie. If you've seen it, let me know because I haven't seen it yet. So we'll see. Maybe we'll have to go see it and talk about it next episode. But we'll see. Click that subscribe button if you like what we're doing here, and we'll see you guys next Sunday. Every Sunday here on No Filter Gen Z. Peace.